This court Leet is convened to present claims of sundry persons to be admitted freemen of Llantrisant, according to the ancient custom of the court, beyond the memory of man. The chairman for our meeting, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Trevor Thomas, who was the Freeman's trustee. And Trevor is going to say a few words.
Welcome then to all the new freemen and people who have not been here before. Before you are some of the trustees of the Town Trust, which of course is a charitable trust set up in 1889 following the dissolution of the old borough of Llantrisant. For your information, particularly for the new freemen, many of whom have come from beyond Offa's Dyke, I would say this, that there are 9 freemen elected by, 9 trustees elected by the freemen. There are 3 appointed by the Community Council, previously the Parish Council, and 1 is appointed by the Cambrian Archaeological Society. And on this occasion, Mr. Martin Hooker represents them, but he's also a freeman, so that suits the book quite nicely. So there are 13 of us. A lot of the work, well, the entire work is done voluntarily, almost with the clerk also. He does claim expenses, but we don't allow him any travelling outside the borough.
3 pence an hour.
As I've just mentioned, I want to be brief because there are something like 33 or 33 new freemen being made tonight. We haven't got a record of the number of deaths, but I guess that in 2020 they reckon there'll be 30,000 centenarians in the country, so perhaps we'll have a share of those. Now then, again, for the information of the new freemen, you have a copy of the extant charter of 1424, which is the second charter originally granted in 1346. That gives us the rights and privileges which today have been reduced by democratic process to virtually grazing on the common. That is what you're now paying your £50 for, including a rather nice tie. And I'm sure that those who are being made tonight will recognize that, unlike that film from America where you had the black American who spent a considerable amount of time trying to trace his roots in West Africa, here you've got it all in front of you. One other thing that I would like to say is that the rights have been protected for the freemen for the last 100 years by the trustees. We have had our ups and downs over the centuries. We've had people trying to mine coal. We've had a golf course which lasted a couple of years, and we had the NCB making approaches for open cast mining. All have been defeated. Now, amongst the prominent freemen of the last 100 years, we have produced a Lord Mayor of London, who was a freeman of this town. We've produced the first Knight of the Garter, Sir Kenneth Traherne, again a freeman and also a trustee. And we also appointed, or at least we had in our midst, the first Euro MP in Sir Brandon Rhys-Williams. So we've had a few notable people involved in the trust in the last 100 years. And I may say that when I was in Colchester last week, and I was amazed on going to have a look at the castle to see that the gates, the memorial gates there, had been opened by Sir David Evans, who was the Lord Mayor of London and came from Glamachith Farm, about 2 miles north of this place. So we do get about a bit. Now, to cut a long story short, I think I should, because the time is short, I would ask the relatives of the various new freemen to stand in due course to present their son or son-in-law for admission to the Freeman's Roll. And I've asked the clerk to name the people, not quite in order of the list, because we have three rugby players who form part of some successful rugby sides in this locality who have to go along to the international arena at Cardiff and will be missing further activities. So, Mr. Clark, if you mention the names.
Yes, thank you, Trevor. The first one is Gareth Llewellyn Alexander. Where's when you go to what? Yeah. When you identify when and Lewis, this is Gareth?
This is Gareth Llewellyn Alexander.
I'll give it to Trust.
Thanks. Sorry, you got his character?
Sorry.
This is what's caused confusion out of order involving rugby. You see, I can't understand it. If it was soccer, it would be a different matter. Next one.
I wasn't aware of that when it was pointed out.
Next one is Owen Richard David of Swan Street. Would you come forward that way? Who
identifies this man and presents him for admission?
I present him.
And you are?
His father,
Richard?
William David.
And we have checked your credentials, and as you're a relative, I vouch for you as well.
And his brother, Hugh Morgan David.
Who again is
present this one also.
Where's the third?
Well, the third you'll have to wait another 2 years for.
Right. Try here.
So we will revert now to the list as it appears before me. Nigel Robert Nicholas of Laliston, who identifies this man? Martin Sheeran of Bayley, son of Leonard Sheeran, who identifies this man, presents him?
I present him. I'm Linda Sheeran and Martin Sheeran.
Come forward, Mr. Sheeran. I might add that all of these credentials have been checked in the earlier part of this week. Derek Brown of Bridgeford, Nottingham, son-in-law.
I present my son-in-law today.
Matthew Gwynne Griffiths of Royalty Farms in Henry, the son of Howard Gwynne Griffiths, who identifies him?
Yes, I present your father.
And likewise, Mr. Idris John Griffiths of Royalty Farm, presented presumably by his father again. Richard Edward Green of Monkswood, the son-in-law of William Cyril Pounder.
And I present Richard Edward Green as my son-in-law.
Kenneth Brian Scammell of Bridge Sadler, the son-in-law of John Michael Morgan, who identifies him again.
I present him and his wife, Sean Scammell.
But I'll look at your marriage certificate. How did he done? Oh. David Charles Eldred of Oldthorne, Marlborough, the son-in-law of Alan Jenkins, who presents and identifies. Thomas George Fox of Fox Caution, the son-in-law of Ralph Frederick Burton, who
I present
identifies.
him and identify him as my son-in-law.
Stephen Allen Powell of Church Village, the son of Gerald Edward Powell, who identifies.
I identify him as father.
And Adrian Evan Powell, the same father. The next person is William John Benjamin Leet of Longington, Tewkesbury, who is in absentia.
I identify him as his father.
Thomas Richard Leet of the same family, same father.
I identify and present him.
Lloyd Stewart Marnie of Mysorelia in Solid Green, being the son-in-law of David Gwynn Matthews.
I identify him as father-in-law.
The next is Julian Thomas John of Lynmouth Crescent, Cardiff, the son of Geoffrey John, who identifies.
I do Geoffrey John's father.
J. Paul Sterling of Seaford, East Sussex, the son of Nicholas Paul Sterling, who identifies.
I do, I'm his father.
David John Davis of Pengham, son of Robert Anthony Barclay Davis, who identifies.
I do, sir, I'm his father.
This was a doubtful one, but we announced that James Barnaby Hooker, who is the son of Mr. Martin Jr. James Christian Tatt of Newark, the son of Roger Clive Tatt, who identifies. He's in the absent.
Well, I will identify him anyway, he's my nephew.
Okay.
Will you,
wish to
do you
take-
live in anywhere near?
Yeah, oh yes, I'll take it.
Oh, that's marvellous.
Thank you very much.
James Henry Thomas Phipps of Newbury, the son of Richard Hartley Phipps, who identifies.
I identify and present him as my son.
The next applicant is in absentia again, Christopher Robert Britton of Kingswood, Bristol, son of Robert Frederick Britton. There's no one in the family. The Reverend David Sheldon Earnshaw of Swindon, the son-in-law of Leonard Alexander Martin, who presents.
I present him, he is my son-in-law.
Gareth Edward Guildhall. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce this Dutch name, but he's from the Netherlands, and he's the son of Edward Royston Guildhall, who identifies and presents.
I'm his father and I present him.
Did the chairman pronounce the name correctly, Mr. Geddes?
Yes.
No, you mean Kennedy on Tuesday night.
Rodney Livesey Davis of Poole, the son of Nigel Livesey Davis, who presents.
I'm Nigel Livesey Davis, father, and I present Rodri.
Ian Roberts of Guildhall, son of Henry Brynmore Roberts, who presents and identifies. That is my son. And also Berwin Roberts, son of the same gentleman from Guildhall.
Come on, Ray, one second, where you live?
Matthew Richard John Nichols of Peterston Super, the son of John Lewis Nichols.
He is my son, and I'm delighted to identify and present.
John Bradley Fleegard of the Highlands Pentecostal, son of John Kendon Fleegard, who identifies as
I identify my never.
the next applicant is in absentia, Jonathan Francis Jeffrey Davis of Oldby, Leicester, the son of David Roy Davis. And again, the next one is also in absentia, David Kenneth Gronwy of Nottingham, the son of William Gronwy.
Will all the newly appointed freemen please stand and repeat after me this declaration. The initial word is I, and then you give your name. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't give anybody else's name, all right? I, having this day been duly admitted a freeman of Llantrisant, do hereby declare that I will faithfully conduct myself as a freeman with due humility and willingly abide by all obligations placed upon me thereby. Thank you, gentlemen. Sit down. The chairman will make a few concluding remarks now.